Is perimenopause real? Is premenopause really a thing? Are you wondering whether you're going through perimenopause or premenopause, or if it's just aging, getting a bit older, or if there's some real health issues that are starting to show up? So many women in their late 30s and early 40s are starting to see symptoms that they've never had before and then confused and wondering what to do and what's going on. And so many women now are aware of something called perimenopause, which probably about 20 years ago, not many women talked about at all. Menopause is a fairly well discussed topic, but perimenopause should be highlighted a bit more because it's the time where women do get confused. They're not really that aware of, until they go through it, what is actually really going to happen. And it's a time in women's lives that it's so confusing and so disruptive to their lifestyles that it really needs to be addressed in the workplace, at home, and beyond, because this is a time where you can actually change things naturally and easily if you know what's going on and you know how. And then when you get to menopause, you fly through menopause and postmenopause and beyond. Hi, I'm Kate Driver. I'm a naturopath of over 25 years and I'm the perimenopause practitioner, and I've helped thousands of women over the last 25 years navigate their health naturally through perimenopause and menopause. And I have programs and online offerings that I help women naturally through this stage of their life to thrive and to do it easily and naturally. So, are you wondering if you're in perimenopause? Well, perimenopause is the time that precedes menopause, and menopause is defined as a year after you have not had a menstrual period for at least a year, and that's when you're in menopause. But perimenopause happens anywhere from 2 to 5 to 10 years prior to that. And everybody's going to be different. So it's really a bit hard to gauge, isn't it? Because you don't really know when you're going to go through menopause. So you can't count back and say, well, this is when I'm going through perimenopause. But what we look for are signs and symptoms that you're going through these changes and that the hormones are actually causing some of these symptoms. Because if you go to your doctor, your GP, they're going to say, oh, well, this is part of aging, or yes, you're probably coming up to menopause, but they're not going to offer you much. And there's no definitive blood test or pathology test to show that you're going through. When you're in menopause, your LH or luteinizing hormone and FSH or follicle stimulating hormone are going to be higher, but in perimenopause, it may not show in the very early stages. And so what we want to look at is what symptoms you might have. So some of the symptoms can be, especially in the early stages, just a bit of fatigue, exhaustion, and sleep issues. And they're probably the most common. And then you might get a disruption with your menstrual cycle. You might be irregular or more regular. You might have heavier or lighter periods. Some women notice mood swings and irritability, and anxiety is a big one. Anxiety and depression can be a big part of perimenopause for some women. Not all, and this can be, misunderstood that it could be something else that's going on in the body, but it could just be because of the hormones. So what happens in perimenopause to begin with is that the progesterone drops and is a lot lower than it used to be because your ovaries aren't producing it as efficiently as your ovaries prepare to shut down eventually. And your estrogen actually just fluctuates so wildly that it creates symptoms that can be all over the place. So one minute you might feel fine and the next minute you might feel terrible. And this is because the estrogen changes quite a lot and it's very unpredictable. So those fluctuating hormones can cause a lot of the symptoms, and your hormones become a little bit more stable when you're in menopause. So that's why you hopefully would get less symptoms. So the common symptoms not only are those that I've already mentioned, but also weight gain, particularly around the belly, if you're starting to put on weight then, and that could be a first sign for some women. Brain fog, lack of concentration. I talked about moodiness and irritability and anxiety, but also just a disinterest or lack of motivation. There can also be things like constant PMT or PMS, headaches and breast tenderness, and feeling like you're always in that pre-menstrual stage where you're just getting a bit moody before your period. You can also start getting things like fibroids or cysts, uterine or cervical cysts and things like that have never shown up before. These can be quite common, including polyps in the uterus and in the cervix sort of area. And there can be loads of other things like itchy skin and itchy scalp. Some women get tingling or pins and needles, mouth tingly, like I've forgotten what it's called, when you get a tingly tongue, burning mouth syndrome, and there's loads of other symptoms as well that I could just list it on for another hour really. So when your hormones are fluctuating, you can actually do something about this naturally to ease these symptoms and actually, in most cases, negate them altogether. And I've helped so many women, including myself, through the last 25 years, through one-on-one consults, but also through a program I have that helps women through perimenopause. I am going to share some of these tips on my free live masterclass, where I will actually share my proven system that I use in my program and with my women that I treat one-on-one. I'm going to share this for free in my next live masterclass. So if you'd like to know more and would like to know exactly what you should be doing and the 3 main hormones that you need to be addressing to actually relieve your symptoms and get rid of them, then please join me on my next free live masterclass. I will put the link below and I'd love to see you there. It's on very soon. I have question and answer sessions, and if you have anything you'd like to share below this video and there's any symptoms that you're wondering, is this perimenopause, then please share. I'd love to hear from you, and I'd love to see you on my next live masterclass. And I hope you also thrive through perimenopause and menopause like you deserve to. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.